Hey YouTube, it's Robert, and I'm sure you guys already noticed we've got a door here that is crooked. It's sagging because the hinges are no longer holding it upright. We've got some screws that are stripped, and so it's now allowing for the hinges to pull away from the door casing, and then subsequently our door is now also crooked. I've got to lift it by the doorknob to try to get it to close, but that's just not a good long-term solution, and the fix is actually really easy for this. So we're going to look at two different methods that we can use to address this. All we really need to do is fill these holes so that our screws have something to bite onto again, and we can keep our door hinges held back in place. So jumping right into our problem here at the hinge, we've got a screw that just spins in place. You can see here we've got a couple additional screws that were done with a slightly thicker gauge, which was an attempt, it looks like, to try to just get more grab by going with a thicker screw, but those are still also not working. So we're going to look to just take these out. You can see there's a little grab on that bottom one. On this top one, actually just should be able to pull it completely out. So when it comes to filling our hinge hole, we have a couple different methods we can use. First we're going to use is to fill it with a traditional dowel. And we just need to make sure that the thickness of our dowel is going to fit inside the hole comfortably and snug. But we could pick up a stick like this at our local hardware store for about $1. And for our second hinge, we will use the toothpick method, where we fill our hinge holes with toothpicks. And this is a very popular method to do this because the toothpicks work really well to fill a variety size of holes, and most people have some laying around the house. Golf tees are also one that I've seen used before and can work really well if it's something else that you have laying around the house, although the toothpicks have more flexibility as to the thickness because we can adjust how many of these that we use to fill whatever size hole we need to. Then we're going to coat these with a little bit of a wood glue before we put them into the holes. Once we remove our hinge, we can see that there's some additional screw holes. So it looks like there was some attempt to relocate the holes to get a better bite. I'm not exactly sure what was going on there, but we want to use the holes that line up with the hinge placement from when this door was first installed, because that should give us the correct alignment for the door. So we're going to ignore those additional holes, and we're going to put this back where the hinge is supposed to be. So we'll use our dowels to fill these holes. We're going to put some wood glue on them first. Clean up this excess glue here, and we'll repeat this for our next holes. So we're not even gonna really have to probably cut that one much. Now, I had the foresight to get two different gauges of dowels because this bottom one here is actually slightly wider and will be better served with a little bit thicker dowel. And again, I'm just going to hammer, break away the excess here. Now we've got those holes very much filled. And we put our hinge back in place. And we're going to make sure that it's nice and tight here before we start to drill our pilot holes, because we just sealed up those holes and we want to give our screw a little bit of a help making room into those holes. I'm using flathead screws on this so that they will sit flush once we shoot it back through the hinge. And now we'll place our screws. And now we have our first door hinge resecured. For our middle door hinge, we're going to use the toothpick method, where we just stick some toothpicks in these holes. We'll still use some wood glue, but the nice thing with these is they can get us a little bit more specific to the overall tightness that we need. And then we'll shoot these right through. And we shouldn't even need pilot holes with the toothpicks here. And we don't want to over tighten these, so I'm very conscious of what the drill is telling me as far as how much resistance I'm getting there at the end. But it's nice and secured now, so let's take a look at how our door's opening. And just like that, our door now operates as it should. I no longer have to lift this doorknob to close my door, as evidenced by the fact that we now have an even gap around the whole perimeter of this door as well. If we have a door that is sagging and it's clearly pulling away from the hinges, and our screws are stripped inside those holes where they're no longer tight but they're spinning around there freely, then this is the repair that we need to do. And the good news is it's very simple and straightforward, as you saw. And between the two methods of the dowel versus the toothpicks to fill those holes, I think the toothpicks were actually the winner as far as what seemed to be the most secured and was the most simple. And the reason for that is those toothpicks, we have a little more flexibility as to how many we use to perfectly fill that hole, but the glue works its way between and around the toothpicks. And then we also avoid having to use a pilot hole, because we can just immediately go through there with a screw, and it's already got some space between those toothpicks, and it'll work its way in, and it ended up with a much more secure bite even than what the dowel joint seemed to give. So the good news is, if you need to get this repair done, it's a very quick and straightforward fix to just get our screws biting into something again and have those hinges secured properly. So hopefully you guys found this video helpful. If you did, be sure to hit that like button, comment down below with any questions that you might have or videos you'd like to see in the future, as well as any feedback you'd like to give me. Let me know how it went if you guys attempted this repair on your own. And again, my name is Robert. I'm here to help with all your home related needs. So until next time, happy remodeling and have a great day.